Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be very interesting. I'm going to cover basic techniques for gouache painting. You can apply similar techniques to acrylic painting as well. Let's talk about the brushes we are going to need for this. We'll need one watercolor brush, which is round brush. You can have number 4 or 6. One liner brush, you can have any liner brush. One flat brush, this is the brush we are going to use the most. I'm using 3/4 inches flat brush. You can use any brand. And we'll also need one angular brush. So this is optional. If you do not have angular brush, you can use a smaller flat brush as well, but if you do, this is 3/4 inches angular brush. For this practice exercise, you can use any colors, but most important is white. You are going to need white. While working with gouache, when you want to tone down the colors, you would not add much water to it as we do in watercolors, but we'll add white. So white is the most white is the color which will get finished earlier. So if you are planning to use gouache on regular basis, you should get a lot of white paint. So here for this exercise, I'm going to use a purple, any shade of yellow. You can use any color basically which you have more available. A jar of water, and let's get started. So we are actually doing a little practice here where we'll see how the gouache paint will mix together. I just dip a brush a little bit in water. I removed all the water from the brush and then took a purple paint on my brush. So from one side, I'll just paint with purple. If you think the color is too dry, you can just use a drop of water. Do not use too much water and convert it into watercolor. We want that opaque characteristics of gouache. So here from one side, I give purple color. Now wash the brush. And take yellow color on your brush, or whichever the lighter tone you are using. For yellow as well, I'm following the same technique, a drop of water, and then let's paint it from the bottom. So now you have 2 layers of a lighter color and darker color. So the technique we are following here is color on top of each other. So instead of using white, we are just going to take the yellow in the purple part, and then we'll drag the purple into yellow part. In between, you'll always need to wash your brush because you don't want it to get smudged too much. See how I drag the purple down in the yellow part? Now let's try one more. In this technique, we are not going to smudge the paints with each other. However, we will use white to mix them. So here, I give one layer of purple and will give one layer of yellow. So how many colors you have, you'll give a layer of each of that color and just leave a little space in between. Once that is done, take a white color on your brush and then just start giving that color in the middle part of both the colors. So I took some white and I'll directly just start applying that in the middle portion. Now drag that white in the yellow part as well as drag it on the top part. If you think that it is too light, then just take a little bit of more darker color or whichever color you are painting with, and just keep moving your brush until you think that it is smooth enough. Here it goes. The most important thing in this practice exercise is you are not moving your brush in any other direction than horizontal. So keep moving your brush only on one side. You can move from left to right or right to left, but make sure you are only having horizontal strokes. If you would have noticed, I'm still using the only flat brush. I haven't used any other brush up until now. So this is the most important brush which we are going to need a lot for getting a simple mixing and a nice blend of colors. So here I'm just using one tone and we are adding white to make it lighter and blend it smoothly. So after the darker tone is done, I directly took some white pen and I'm dragging it towards the top. See how smooth color effect we have got. Now we are going to add some clouds on this surface. So I took a small any smaller brush, and you have to just directly a white color onto the brush, but you have to use the tip as I was doing here. Now let's see it again. So you don't have to hold your brush like a pencil, but you have to hold it in a flat direction and just like dab it little, just kind of drag it onto the surface to get that cloudy effect. Here we have drawn very small. You can practice more with different colors and then just add little highlights here and there to get that original cloud effect. So for the highlights, I'm again taking white pen, but this time not mixing too much water into it, and follow the same method. Add highlights here and there. So by look at the cloud, you can decide where you should add shadows and where you should add more light. Based on that, add your highlights. I'm adding some more. We are going to practice this one more time, but now we'll see how to give a watery effect. Here I'm going to use a darker color and white. So I'm starting with a darker color and then I'll take a little bit of white and just mix it as we mix in exercise 1. And at the bottom again I'll give a darker color. Just keep blending until you get a nice blend. Now we'll take a small liner brush and add a little water into the dark color and just start drawing lines here and there to give that watery effect. Make sure you're adding the lines more on the side and almost nothing in the middle, because in the middle we will add the reflection of the moon. So at the bottom you can add a little bit bigger or I'll say thicker lines so that it will look as more depth. Now let's add some highlights with black. So you can either mix black with purple or you can just take a plain black if you feel it's not too sharp. I'm adding very few lines because I don't want the black to overpower my painting. Now let's add the moon. I'm directly using a white pen without adding any water from the moon, so that it will be more opaque. We want a fresh white, and in the middle where we didn't add the darker lines, now let's add some reflection here. So in the center, just keep adding some lines here and there, go until the end. I'm also adding some sharp white lines, so directly take a white pen without mixing any water. Touch over the lines we have already painted, not everywhere, just at few places. And our mini landscape painting of a glowing beach sunset is ready. Keep practicing, try these techniques before you try your hands on some big painting. Thank you so much for watching. Keep practicing, keep enjoying. Thank you.